And welcome to the special election night edition of News 12. I'm Dan Thomas.
I'm Jen Phillips. We begin with what the entire world is watching tonight, the race for the White House.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is following President Trump's campaign. Michael George is also with Vice President Joe Biden. They are both going to join us live.
And let's get now to the latest national numbers in the presidential race. First, taking a look at the popular vote. There you see Donald Trump is leading with a narrow margin for now. This is 51% of the votes that have been recorded. Now, mind you, several states just closed their polls moments ago.
Yeah, a lot of those West Coast states still rolling in the votes here. On to what really matters, the electoral votes. You've been hearing all night. 270s, what it takes to win the White House. And right now, it looks like that we're calling 209 already dedicated to Joe Biden, Donald Trump with 112. Several of those states leaning toward Trump right now. A lot to learn about that situation here. A lot of swing states still have not called in their final votes. So that includes Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida. Many of those kind of leaning what they call pink toward Trump right now, not officially in the Trump camp.
Now, some included Texas in that list of possible swing states. So those are the numbers you're looking at right now. 73% of the votes reported in the Lone Star State. But you see there, 51% of those votes are going to President Donald Trump. These are still preliminary numbers. They are not calling this state yet because it is so close, a narrow margin for now. We saw a much narrower margin when fewer of those votes were reported.
And one state that is firmly on the Trump side of that electoral map, Oklahoma. That one got called within seconds of the polls closing. President Trump easily taken home Oklahoma's 7 electoral votes again. It's the 13th straight presidential election that a Republican has taken Oklahoma. You have to go all the way back to 1964 LBJ to find a Democrat that's taken Oklahoma. All right, moving on now to who represents Texoma and Washington with a Senate and congressional seat on the ballot for all Texoma voters.
Oklahoma's senior U.S. Senator Jim Inhofe seeking a 5th 6-year term tonight. And the 85-year-old Republican incumbent easily beats Democratic challenger Abby Broyles tonight. With 95% of the vote reporting, this one was called early on, 30 percentage points ahead of Abby Broyles there.
And on the other side of the Red River, the senior Senator John Cornyn re-elected tonight, defeating Democrat MJ Hager. The Texas Republican wins a 4th 6-year term in the U.S. Senate. And north of the red now, Oklahoma Congressman Tom Cole has been reelected to a 10th 2-year term in the House tonight. The Republican incumbent and Chickasaw native easily defeats 2 challengers there, raking in 68% of the vote. We spoke to Cole tonight about the challenges facing the country and Oklahoma in his next term, including the recent Supreme Court ruling regarding tribal sovereignty.
The critical thing on legislation is the tribes in the state have to agree. Congress will not come in to Oklahoma and force things one way or the other. They'll say, sit down, you guys negotiate an agreement, which we're pretty used to doing in Oklahoma. And then we'll memorialize that in federal legislation once there's an agreement.
And another southern Oklahoma congressman also re-elected tonight. Republican Markwayne Mullin wins a 5th 2-year term in the House tonight. We also spoke to him moments after he was declared winner earlier tonight about a possible post-election government shutdown.
Well, I mean, we'd have to get along, and that's the problem. D.C. hasn't been talking to each other. We spend more time pointing fingers at each other than trying to figure out some way to compromise. I spent my entire life in business. My wife and I, we still own several businesses, and ever since I was 20 years old, you had to learn how to negotiate jobs, right, and different projects. In D.C., we don't do that.
And an open state Senate north of the red in Oklahoma, Senate District 5. Republican George Burns defeats Democrat Randy Coleman of Broken Bow tonight. Now, Broken Bow Republican Joseph Silk vacated the seat, lost to incumbent Markwayne Mullin in that congressional primary. So this district includes Choctaw, Pushmataha, McCurtain, LaFleur, and eastern Atoka counties.
Welcome back to State Questions on the ballot this year for Oklahomans' first criminal justice reform, a measure that's drawn the ire of many of our local law enforcement.
That's right. State Question 805 would end the use of sentence enhancements for previous convictions in felony cases involving nonviolent crimes. Supporters say it would lower Oklahoma's high incarceration rate and save taxpayer dollars. Opponents say it would put more drugs and criminals on Oklahoma's streets. There you see that measure does fail tonight by a wide margin.
The other state question for Oklahomans tonight, whether to cut in half the amount the state gets from the Tobacco Settlement Fund allocated to TSED. That's the state's fund for cancer and cardiovascular disease prevention, and direct the state legislature to use that money instead to secure federal matching funds for Sooner Care. That's the Medicaid program for the state. And you see tonight that measure failed. On to our local races now, with a couple of Oklahoma sheriff badges up for grabs.
And for the first time in 20 years, there's a new sheriff in town in Johnston County. Current Undersheriff Gary Dodd will succeed Sheriff John Smith, who is retiring after 2 decades. Our Caroline Cluess spoke to Dodd about taking over the helm.
I'm here with Sheriff-elect Gary Dodd, who just won Johnston County. Now, Sheriff, what will be your first focus as sheriff?
The first focus at hand is just to keep doing what we've been doing for the past several years. We've been very successful, had a good successful program at the Sheriff's Office with good deputies who are invested in the community. We're going to continue to do that and continue to go after criminals and evil people that live among us, and bring them to justice so they can be held accountable for the actions that they perpetrate against, people here in Johnston County and the property.
What does the title of sheriff mean to you?
The title of sheriff is the oldest form of law enforcement in the United States. It actually came over from England and is actually mentioned in the Bible. So it's a great honor to be elected by the people of Johnston County as their next sheriff, and I can't thank them enough. What I can do is promise them that I'm going to be out there in their communities. They're going to see me. They're going to see their deputies working, and be proactive and try to make this place a better community and a better county for all of us and all of our families.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
In Tishomingo, Caroline Cluess, News 12. Back to you guys.
And just a few miles up the road, Cole County Sheriff Brian Jump is re-elected tonight. He defeats Republican challenger Stephen Flowers. Nita Quattrino is standing by with Sheriff Jump.
Jen, Dan, I'm here in Cole County with re-elected Cole County Sheriff Brian Jump. Brian, congratulations. How are you feeling tonight?
Really good. Feeling really good.
Absolutely. And so Brian Jump has been the Cole County Sheriff here. We're going in on his 9th year. Brian, what's going to be your top priority this term?
We're just going to keeping on just like we've been going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to wrap up here tonight, we don't have a lot of time. What's a message you want to tell your viewers who supported for you?
I appreciate everybody's support. I could have done it without them.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you have it. Re-elected Brian Jump, Cole County Sheriff. Reporting here in Colgate, Nina Quattrino, News 12.
All right, before we leave you tonight, earlier tonight, we told you, of course, President Trump easily took Oklahoma. Still waiting on Texas to be called. Too close to call in the state of Texas, but you may be wondering, how did Texoma vote when it comes to our nation's top job?
Here's a look at our 3 most populous counties and how they voted. We'll start in Grayson County. No surprise here, President Trump capturing roughly 3 votes to every Biden vote so far there. Trump got 74% of the vote in Grayson County 4 years ago to Hillary Clinton's 22%.
And north of the red, going now to Carter County, Trump handily winning that, 77% of the vote. That's an improvement over 74% back in 2016 to Hillary Clinton's 22%.
And in Bryan County, the president easily wins there as well with 79% of the vote. He got 76% of the 2016 vote to Clinton's 20%.
And you can drill down on more of this, KXII.com. We're going to have those results up on our website and our news app. And of course, we're going to have the results all night long from CBS News.
Be sure to keep it here on News 12.